tallest, longest, biggest. Too many titles, too many stars who have claimed them. But does that make you satisfied? Nope. Ever given a thought about the oddest world record titles out there? Well, there are some. So get ready to get your mind blown in today's episode. Hey folks, welcome back once again to another exciting episode. What are you guys waiting for? Like, share, and subscribe. Alright, like we said before, our normal record titles don't satisfy our awe factor, right? We need something crazy, something no one would really want to try. To make some of the pages of the record books, some people will have to go to some pretty absurd lengths. The Guinness Book of World Records is full of really bizarre efforts, despite the fact that certain world record holders are physical outliers, such as the tallest or smallest person in the world. For instance, there are those who broke the record for boiling the biggest cup of coffee, or the pair that broke the record for the longest kiss. Sometimes setting a world record only requires turning up in your bathing suit. Anyways, let's not keep this waiting any longer. Let's jump into it, straight away. Number 10, the title for the most body hair. We're all guilty of judging individuals harshly, based just on their outward looks. If you enter a guilty plea, Larry Gomez's tale as the world's hairiest man, also known as Wolfman, will assure you that you never make the same mistake twice. The Californian guy has thick, black hair covering 98% of his body, including his face, due to a rare genetic condition called congenital generalized hypertrichosis. This broke Larry's confidence, who had been badly tormented at school for being different. The guy has, however, transformed his greatest vulnerability into his greatest strength, as he now has the moniker of Wolfman. The main character, Lawrence's name in the 1941 Hollywood film The Wolfman, served as inspiration for the name, which has since come to represent the identity of the man. Well, this doesn't end here. He received several honors because of the same hair. Larry and his 3 family members, who were all affected by the same illness, were recognized as the hairiest family in the Guinness Book of World Records in February 2000. In reality, Larry co-starred with Robert Pattinson and Reese Witherspoon in the 2007 Hollywood film Water for Elephants. Now, Larry may be one of those individuals with the guts to defy the odds. However, not everyone is as courageous. So wouldn't it be better if we exercise some compassion, stayed away from passing judgment on others, and most importantly, avoid being cruel to them? This should be something to think about, right? Number 9, the title for the most cockroaches eaten in a minute. Ever wondered what it might be like to consume a live cockroach? Maybe 36 of them? No, neither did we. But Ken Edwards asked that identical question in 2001. There is no space for doubt in this world record-breaking endeavor, as Ken Edwards of Derbyshire, UK, proved when he chose to try to consume 36 Madagascan cockroaches in 1 minute. In addition to having a maximum length of 3 inches, Ken ate his platter of crunchy bugs while they were still alive. As you can expect, this didn't sit well with animal extremists, PETA, and in 2006, they criticized Six Flags amusement parks for their concept of awarding a free VIP season pass to anyone who could break his record. To the disappointment of Ken Edwards and PETA, the challenge still continued even though all attempts to beat his record were unsuccessful. For consuming 36 live cockroaches in 60 seconds, Ken still maintains the record. Odd, but cool, huh? Well, this one might have been about cockroaches, but how about cow brains? Feeling gross? Not yet. Despite the fact that there has been an increase in food issues in recent years, the early 2000s still holds the record for the most common challenges. A competitive foodie from Japan named Takeru Kobayashi established the record in 2002 when he consumed 57 cow brains in 15 minutes. Takeru downed 57 cow brains totaling 18 pounds, or slightly over 8 kilograms in weight. The adage, less is more, comes to mind with this challenge, and we definitely think this should have ended at, well, 0. Regardless of how healthy the meal is for you, cow brains are recognized for being incredibly nutritious. We think this should have stopped at, well, 0 though. Alright, moving on to the next, number 8, the title for the heaviest mantle of bees. This one might seem quite frightening, unlike the others on the list, but not weird as the first, so keep on watching till the end of today's episode. Even if the bee only adopts the nickname, it's frightening. Anyone who has been stung by a bee will never forget the agony. Everyone present fled from the bees after the hive of bees shifted and the bees scattered. You cannot even begin to picture what would have happened to the person if the bees had infested their entire body rather than just one area. However, nothing really occurred to one person. He is the person with the most bees in the world. The longest number of bees ever found within a human body was found in China, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. A Chinese guy was seated and covered with bees. The title of heaviest bee mantle is held by Yishun City resident Ruan Liangming. He carried 63.7 kilograms of bees on his body in this record. There were roughly 637,000 bees there. In addition, each of these bees included 60 queen bees. While making the record, no accidents were recorded. On a CGTV Guinness World Record special, co-filming set in Fengxing County, Yushin City, Jiangxi Province, China, the record was set outside. Certification officers for the Guinness Book of Records kept an eye on the record while keeping a safe distance. This guy was calm and in control during the entire recording, although millions of bees were nesting on their body. That's totally like playing with fire. Officials from the Guinness Book of Records said that by measuring the weight of the fish placed on his body, a new record had been achieved. He casually shook his head. The bug flew out of his mouth as a result. Officials from the Guinness Book of World Records are shown honoring Ruan at the end. In fact, bookkeeping has been a practice since the 19th century. Numerous individuals are working to raise the record on it. Some people do this, and some people don't. Number 7. Title for the world's longest fingernails. The world record for the longest fingernails on a pair of hands and the longest fingernails on a pair of hands ever were both broken by a lady in the U.S. The entire length of Diana Armstrong's nails on both hands is 42 feet. For more than 25 years, Diana, at the age of 63, has been growing her fingernails. Her fingernails are longer than a typical yellow school bus when they're all united. The longest nail on her body is on her right thumb, measuring 138.94 centimeters. Her left pinky fingernail, which is the smallest of her nails, is 109.2 centimeters long. Armstrong has not used a nail clipper since 1997, after the passing of her 16-year-old daughter, Letitia, who passed away in her sleep after an asthma attack. She stopped cutting her nails. The fact that Diana's fingernails broke Ayana's previous record by 573.03 centimeters is even more astounding. Diana has also surpassed Lee Redmond's record, which lasted since 2008 for the longest fingernails on a pair of hands. Diana claims that she's limited in what she can accomplish with her hands and frequently uses her feet to open the refrigerator or pick up things from the floor. Diana is accustomed to receiving attention when she is out in public because of her unique feature. She used to routinely turn down photo requests, but now she's at ease enough to let interested passerbys take pictures of her interesting fingernails. Diana was shocked when Guinness World Records first saw her nails because of how long they were. In fact, at first, she thought it was all a joke. Number 6. Title for sniffing the most feet and armpits. Today's society places a high value on cleanliness and excellent hygiene, since they not only make it easier to find a date, but also help to stop the spread of bacteria and sickness. People obviously dislike unpleasant odors, especially body odor, which is why a billion-dollar business is centered on items that are meant to freshen your breath. However, staff members must conduct smelling tests in order to test these items. Madeline Albrecht, a lab employee, holds the distinction of sniffing more feet and armpits than any other person in history. She accomplished this record throughout her 15-year tenure at Hilltop Laboratories. Quite a job, huh? Madeline has smelled an indefinite amount of armpits, so you'll likely need to smell at least 6,000 armpits to even get close to the record. It appears she has sniffed about 5,600 feet, which you can attempt to break if you dare. What, backing off? Number 5. Title for the most metal eaten. We all need to use the restroom occasionally, but it was also noted earlier in the same line that we all need to eat, which typically happens at least 3 times a day. We eat because, in order for us to survive, our bodies need nourishment. And if you follow a typical diet, you consume meat, dairy, fruits, and vegetables every day. Humans are omnivores, which implies that we can eat almost everything. However, we seldom do so since certain foods either have no nutritional value at all or are too harmful to ingest. The fact that Michael Latito of France had the oddest diet since 1959, a diet that included consuming at least 2 pounds of metal daily, which did not matter to him. Latito was able to consume 18 bicycles, a computer, glass, 7 televisions, 6 chandeliers, a pair of skis, and 2 beds over his lifetime, which, may I add, was completely devoured. Since Latito was essentially an anomaly of nature, he's maintained this record for close to 60 years. Doctors found he had a very strong digestive system and diagnosed him with pica, a compulsive eating disease in which sufferers devour objects other than food. How about you try this? Number 4. Title for skydiving without a parachute. Most might have had this dream on the bucket list to do a skydive. While it's a crazy sporty thing, most fear it due to the risk involved. What if the parachute stops working? What if we lose control and land on rough terrain? In the worst case scenario, a water body. With the parachute itself, the task seems quite challenging. What if we said, you don't have a parachute? Oh yes, we'll just pass. It's altogether a different story. An American skydiver named Luke Akins did something crazy. While it's an extreme sport and requires super courage to do the act with a parachute, it requires immense courage to jump off a plane from a height without a parachute, unless you want to impress someone so badly. And hey, Luke Akins jumped off from a height of 7,620 meters out of a plane. He didn't rely on a parachute, and after about 2 minutes of freefall, he landed safely in a 30 by 30 meter net. Sounds like the jump wasn't dangerous enough already. Luke had to do precise calculations beforehand to ensure a safe jump to make it into history as a triumph, rather than a mishap. It happened at the infamous Simi Valley, California. Oh, did we forget to mention that he's already a professional skydiver and a stuntman? He underwent intense training from different skydivers and even performed stunts in Iron Man 3. In a nutshell, this shouldn't be done on the spur of the moment by any of you, as the risk factor involved was alarmingly high. The Screen Actors Guild intruded in the final weeks of preparation and insisted on wearing a parachute just in case things go south. Luke didn't succumb to fear and said that a parachute would increase his mass and could potentially ruin his entire stunt. It took him about 2 years of intense planning to do this incredible daring trick of freefall, which lasted 2.5 minutes. To film the historic moment, 3 other skydivers also jumped with Luke. While one took the video, one left his smoke for trial for the observers on the ground, and the third skydiver removed his oxygen tank. As the final step, the 3 divers deployed their parachutes as Luke plummeted towards the ground. At a speed of 193 kilometers per hour, he successfully landed on the net. Number 3. The title for being the oldest wing walker. People have traveled long distances using a number of various modes of transportation throughout history. However, in the last 60 years, we have steadily shifted to using aircraft for this type of travel. As long as the skies are clear and everyone remains seated, flying aboard an airplane is often regarded as the safest mode of transportation. Additionally, it is beneficial if no one rides on the plane's exterior while it is in the air. Wing walking, which involves physically moving on an airplane's wings while it's in flight, has been practiced since the air shows of the 1920s. No matter your age, performing such a feat is highly risky, even with all safety procedures in place. But Thomas Lackey successfully flew between Stranraer in Dumfries and Galloway, Scotland, to Derry in County Londonderry, Northern Ireland, UK in 2013, at the amazing age of 93 years and 100 days. Thomas had an ambition of being a pilot since he was a small child, but his aspirations were dashed when he was rejected from the RAF and subsequently had a stroke that limited the use of his legs. Thomas felt it was time to fulfill his goal and took his maiden flight at the age of 80 after the unexpected death of his wife. He first established the record in 2009 and then broke it 4 more times to become the oldest wing walker in history. Tom has raised over £1 million for charity since starting to wing walk, earning him the title of Fundraiser of the Year at the Mirror's 2011 Pride of Britain Awards. The wind pressure on top of the biplane, for example, made Tom's final hour and 21-minute stunt the most difficult of his career. Want to try something without much risk? Why don't you try driving at 75 to 80 miles per hour and keeping your head above the sunroof? Number 2. Title for the longest time spent trapped underground. In 2010, Chile miners set a world record after surviving underground due to a mining accident. 33 miners were saved in a 24-hour, $20 million rescue effort and were hailed as national heroes, setting a new world record for the longest time. They were stranded a half-mile down for 69 days after a portion of their mine collapsed, and for 17 days they were believed to be dead. The rescue effort, which was perhaps the hardest of its type in human history and was handled by Chilean President Sebastián Pinera, who organized national resources, merited high praise and appreciation since it showed efficiency and teamwork and ended in total success. This story served as a reminder of the eternal human virtues of friendship, resiliency, resolve, and inventiveness in an ever more complicated environment. After spending months in darkness, the miners were brought out of the mine one by one in a specially constructed capsule. They emerged as international celebrities, complete with expensive sunglasses that, according to doctors, were hardly necessary to protect their eyes from the sun and work lights. Large mining companies in Chile have above-average safety records, while Little San Esteban ran its one operation with a lot of debt. The business acknowledged after the collapse that it lacked the means to execute a rescue. The government quickly turned to Codelco, a state-owned business that enlisted the help of international specialists. Rescuers excavated a tiny hole and found the guys alive on August 22nd. The waiting men extended a 2-day supply of food for almost 2 weeks. Can you believe that? With the help of teams from South Africa, the US, and Canada, as well as New Zealand sensors, Australian 3D mapping technology, Japanese video technology, and an abundance of international medical, shipping, and entertainment supplies, the Chilean government approved digging 3 man-sized holes. The capsule that would carry the crew from 700 meters down was built by Chile's Navy, using some of the 75 designs submitted by NASA and other government organizations as drilling progressed. Anyhow, as proven by the numerous miners who have perished while working due to incidents like explosions, breathing in hazardous chemicals, and catastrophic cave-ins, mining has always been an extremely risky industry. When this occurred in 2010, it seemed like everyone on the globe was on edge. Number 1. The title for having the largest object ever removed from a human skull. We are fortunate, for the most part, to be able to live in a nation that is generally quite safe, but because the world is truly a very hazardous place, such safety is not always guaranteed. You may not want to consider it, yet scores of individuals throughout the world are stabbed every single day, either accidentally or intentionally by someone who meant to serious harm or murder someone else. By no means is getting stabbed enjoyable, and often, if you were to get stabbed in the skull, you would either pass away or have significant brain damage, to be paralyzed or nearly dead. A survival knife that was 8 inches long was used to stab an American called Michael Hill in the head in 1998. Hill was lucky enough to survive the attack. No one should ever attempt to surpass his existing world record for the biggest thing extracted from a human skull. Well, this is one of those records that no one should ever try replicating. All of the other cases, even the record of having the most number of bees, can be understood, but this is a pure miracle, for sure. Every year, a new edition of the Guinness World Records is published, and if you were to ask every person who currently holds a record how they felt about their achievement, the majority of them will probably respond with excitement. Some people just manage to make it into the record books, but there are also some that set out to break every world record they can in order to leave a lasting legacy. The issue, though, is that some of the records we went through are ones that, for a number of reasons, people shouldn't attempt to break. So finally, coming to the end of today's episode, please share your thoughts on today's video in the comments area below. That's all we've got for you today. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos like this one. While you're at it, enable post alerts so you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like. We hope that you had a good time watching the video. We'll see each other again at the next one.